Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you, Renee?
Good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So, how many workshops have you been to that Michael Simonson does for the energy?
A lot. I know I went probably to the first one, when that was in fall of, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And I went to many that year, 2011 to 12, I think, probably 6 or 7. And then I've gone to a smaller number the last 2 years, as there haven't been that many here in this area. But I go often.
And how would you say that learning about the energy through the energy workshops, how has it changed your life?
Changed my life? Well, in many ways it assists me and supplements my work as a speech pathologist. I work with lots of kids with autism in their homes, not in the school system anymore. And it made me more aware of the energy work that I do by being in the presence of the kids when I'm working with them. Perhaps as a communication coach more than a speech pathologist at this point. And I'm sure we share energy and balance out our needs of what we need to do while we're together, because of my energetic awareness now. It made me more aware of my energetic sensitivity, such that the energy of the kids with autism or other challenges that they might have is very familiar to me. They're very multidimensional kids, and I play out there a lot, so it just brought that more to my awareness. In the remainder of my life, it's had a far greater impact because it's teaching me more ways to live by and aligning more with the love that I am and staying connected with my divinity and doing all that I can to be non-judgmental and positive. I'm still practicing guarding my thoughts.
Would you say that that's possibly one of the most important lessons you've learned, to keep track of the judgmental and the fear, and then
Yes.
And then what's the next step that you always find yourself doing from there?
The next step in my daily life, in my work.
Right.
In my work, it's teaching, talking to parents about this, and that will bleed over into my personal life. I teach parents about how their children are who they are, and they would be best not to judge them and to love them unconditionally. No loving with condition. I only love you when you do this my way is something we're trying to encourage parents not to do. So in my own life, I have to practice that and walk my talk by having my experience of loving my daughter unconditionally in a space where a more traditional relationship would be having very conditional love at this point because of some of the things that are going on in our lives and in our relationship.
So if someone asked you, what is it you do at those workshops with that Michael Simonson, how would you describe it? How would you explain what you do?
Well, there are 2 ways that I would answer. It would depend if someone was asking me professionally. I would say that I come to listen to how Michael teaches because it supplements how I teach. I listen to his language. I listen to the questions that people ask, and I gather all that as information. But the tools that I learn as far as managing my own energy and my own thoughts and being more positive is something that I incorporate into my life and demonstrate, hopefully by example for anyone who's watching me on how I live.
And so again, I'm coming up to you. I have no idea what energy work is, and I'm wondering, what do you do at? So I hear about those workshops. What do you do there?
I believe that most people are drawn to come see Michael because they have investigated a lot of ways to have better things happening in their lives because they're judging themselves that it's not great yet for them. So they may have gone to see to get help in the medical community or an educational community, other professional communities. Michael comes here talking about some of the greatest interactions we do as humans in a very simple way. So, you see Michael, he talks about love. You see Michael, he talks about judgment. Those are things that everyone understands in their life. Have they really understood that they've ever been judging? Have they ever really understood that they haven't been loving or feeling love? Not necessarily. So if people want to go and see a much larger and zoomed in scope of themselves in a very simple but raw way, then attending a workshop like this is really important. You will change. If you attend a workshop, you will be thankful. You may hesitate for a while when you're first experiencing these workshops to celebrate your best teachers, who may be those individuals in your life that you really hadn't ever perceived as anyone that you liked at all. So there's a great growth in this. There's a continual growth. I think it's ongoing. I think you have to practice what you learn when you go to these workshops. It's full of information, but more importantly, it's overlaid with tools so that you can continue what you learn in a workshop about energy, and that everything is energy in our world, scientifically proven nowadays, and that energy follows your intent that's in your thoughts. That is also becoming more mainstream and part of the collective consciousness. We talk about fear. People have probably never concentrated much about fear. Do people want to come to a workshop and learn about their fears? Maybe. It takes courage to come to a workshop like this. It takes a leap of faith, and it takes enthusiasm to embrace it for what it is. Because at first it might be a little closer to being personal than you want to be in front of a bunch of people you don't know, but that usually gets shifted really quickly, because suddenly you look at the people that are around you and it looks like people that are part of your family. Actually more receptive than people who are part of your family. That could be called a judgment. However, it feels that way. More loving.
So for you personally, what has been the ultimate gift or lesson that you have received in coming and learning from Michael Simonson?
The ultimate gift?
Or lesson.
Or lesson. It's not one. The ultimate lesson in practice is that I need to constantly be the love who I am and stay aligned with my truth and open up to more of the truth of who I am, that through our fears we forget who we are. And as we lessen our fears, we remember more who we are and what our and we become more aware of our potential. So that's the lesson. The gift would be to pay good attention to my words. Perfect for me. I talk all the time, and I'm listening to what other people say all the time when I'm doing my professional work. And most importantly, is to guard my thoughts. Because we live in a rapid world. We live in an automatic thought response, word response to people. And we sometimes only spend time considering our thoughts because we're worried about how people will hear them or judge them, as opposed to coming from a different point of internally empowering the words we're saying, as opposed to being concerned about how they will be received. So guarding my thoughts.
Well, I'm so glad that you've shared your experiences with us.
Okay.
And I'm glad to have seen you this weekend. And I'm grateful to have you in my life.
Oh, you too, Renee. And I'm so glad to know you and Wilson.
Thank you, Ken.